A historic night in LFL history as the Nashville Knights debut versus Tashay Winfrey and the Austin Acoustic. Next.
I just want to be given the chance.
You were the pioneers that built women's football.
The opportunity to succeed. Or even to fail.
You are the league of their own.
Figure out what the you need to do mentally to be able to sacrifice everything for the girl next to you.
You better knock the shit out of her.
Put the hurt on them first. Keep them on the ground. Stick your foot on their throat.
Welcome inside the booth of LFL Football Night, a major milestone night for the LFL as it names its first ever female head coach in Danica Brace. Danica Brace coming in with a loaded Nashville Knights roster, making their debut tonight in Music City. And for the Austin Acoustic, this is a team that's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. In 2018, they really have to take that next step. How do they do that? Behind the franchise quarterback, Tashay Winfrey, and a front line that got a lot bigger and more physical this offseason. We'll see how that translates down on the field. Now I welcome in my broadcast partner, Bobby Huco. Now, Bobby, here we are, exciting, electric atmosphere here in Music City. What are some of the storylines tonight?
There's a lot of firsts tonight. First off, I just love the LFL being in Nashville, Tennessee. In the locker room, I just came up. All the players were listening to your favorite song, your favorite country song, getting drunk on a plane, bro.
We spent some time on Broadway last night, but let's get back to the football game.
But the big story is Danica Brace, the first time ever a female coach in the LFL. She was an all-fantasy player up there in Seattle. She brought up a lot of her players down here, but we're going to see if that's translating to be a good coach tonight. But it's not an expansion team. Like I mentioned, a lot of stud players, led by KK Matheny, the quarterback, running back Dominique Malloy, Stevie Schnorr, the MVP, Jade Randall, and to top it off, Danielle Hawkins, all here in Nashville. Unbelievable.
That is a lot of weapons. The Austin Acoustic defense, I'm sure, had nightmares coming into this game. On the offensive side of the ball, Austin looking pretty good. They're the #1 rated passing attack of 2017, led by the #1 quarterback in Tashay Winfrey. What are the matchups that we should look for tonight?
Well, it might end up being a shootout with these offenses going back and forth.
Sure.
Because last year, Austin's defense was a little suspect. They loaded up with some beef up front this year, but the standout player was Kendria Robinson, a defensive back. Small in stature, but she hits harder than anybody in the league. She's going to have to stay after Stevie Schnorr, the running back for Nashville tonight, to have a shot. And then on offense, Austin has a quarterback. They also have receivers, the Smurfs, led by Cassandra Bills, the fastest receiver in the league. She can get behind any secondary, led the league in yards per catch, and then underneath in the slot, Leilani Lopez, great hands across the middle, and then out of the backfield, Kendria Robinson and Michelle Marshall. A lot of targets for Tashay Winfrey tonight.
An electric atmosphere here in Music City. The Nashville Knights versus the Austin Acoustic. Say it with me. Kickoff is next. Back to LFL Football Night in beautiful Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. Mitch Mortaza alongside Bobby Huco. And that is Aubrey Williams getting us underway. A low-lying kick out of the back of the end zone. Now we get a look at KK Matheny. We talked about her role on this expansion team.
The major difference with playing in Nashville has been it's an expansion franchise. You know, it's the first time Music City's seen LFL football, which is really exciting. So I've been a mentor to the rookies, and that's just been really fulfilling for me as a veteran and as a leader. I have a lot of rookies that hit me up. I find myself in practices coaching and then obviously playing. So it's been really cool.
KK Matheny really is like a coach. She's a veteran. She's won the Legends Cup championship, one of the best the league has ever seen. She can only help Danica Brace in coaching.
And another veteran coming up big there on first down, Dominique Malloy. This is Matheny looking down the field and connecting. Jade Randall, a 30-yard touchdown. Only taking 40 seconds before this Nashville team delivers.
What a read by quarterback KK Matheny. CeCe McMillan was one-on-one against the MVP, Jade Randall. A back shoulder throw, beautiful back shoulder throw. CeCe McMillan lost both her ankles, and Randall walks into the end zone. What a start for Nashville.
It did not take long, Bobby Huco. You talked about the chemistry that formed toward the end of 2017 between KK Matheny and Jade Randall, and we saw it unfold right there.
I really think one of the safeties was supposed to double team Randall, and she got caught looking at the backfield. What a read by KK Matheny.
Yeah, I would take that matchup any day, and you can see Sierra McMillan once again matched up one-on-one at the top of your screen with Jade Randall. We'll see if they go that way. Over the middle, and that is one Randall could have come up with. The extra point, no good, so our score will remain 6-0 Nashville.
KK Matheny looks like she's on fire already. Again, another great throw to Randall. She just dropped it.
Now let's visit with Tashay Winfrey.
With it being my third year, definitely there's pressure. Each year we've improved in every category, so all we need is wins right now. And I definitely feel that this year we have all the components that we need to make sure that we get W's under our belt.
One of the most exciting quarterbacks the LFL has ever seen. She is a gunslinger.
A 1st and 10 from the 15, a bit of a reverse to Kendria Robinson. And there is a look at Danielle Hawkins. So all of the free agents paying big dividends early.
They are all fantasy players and know how to play the game of football. Mike Oliveira, the head coach of Austin, said he really wanted to establish a running game. Everybody in the world knows he can throw. He wants to establish the run. I don't know why. I like to see him throw and just wing it around.
After that 1-yard loss by Kendria Robinson, it is a 2nd and 11 from the Austin 14. Quick bubble screen to Leilani Lopez. The Nashville defense not having it. Let's meet the starters for Austin.
Cassandra Bills, wide receiver.
Leilani Lopez, receiver. Steph McCormick, tight end.
Brittany Dowdy, tight end.
Brandy Stolte, center.
Kendria Robinson, running back. Tashay Winfrey, quarterback.
As we saw, Austin's defense is their weak point. Tashay Winfrey tonight is the key to this game. She has to wing it all over the field and score some points.
And an early fumble. On 3rd and 7, it looks like Nashville may have recovered this fumble.
Wow, they tried a flea flicker. They were wide open. If somehow Winfrey could have stepped up in the pocket and delivered the football, it comes back to her. She has to step up and throw. She's wide open. Just throw it. She holds on it too long, and it looks like it's a fumble.
That looked like Whitney Palmer put the pressure on Tashay Winfrey. And, of course, Jade Randall comes up with the fumble.
Big play by Randall, huge play by that defense. A split second more, that would have been a touchdown for Austin. She was wide open on the post pattern.
A 1st and 10 for Nashville, already up 6-0. We expected Nashville to potentially dominate. It looks like it's headed that direction.
Wow, one split second more, it would have been a touchdown for Austin. This would be a tie ball game right now.
Instead of 1st and 10 for Nashville, ball at the Austin 22-yard line. So great field position again for Nashville. They're going to fake the reverse to Malloy. Down the field to Randall. A great defensive play this time by CeCe McMillan.
Trying again to go after CeCe McMillan. I would take Randall, the league MVP, all the time. KK Matheny underthrew her.
That'll set up a 2nd and 10. We get a look at Danica Brace. We met with her earlier.
You know, going into tonight, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous. These are big shoes to fill. You know, most people think that a female cannot step in and take a head coaching position in the sport of football. But you know, my job has been to prepare these ladies and let them come out and execute, and we'll let the rest take care of itself. So I'm extremely excited. This is an incredible opportunity, and I hope there's more to come. I hope there's more female coaches to follow.
Coach Brace told me she had jitters, butterflies in her stomach, and she just wanted to make sure she made the right substitutions while she's calling the right plays. I said, welcome to the coaching world, Danica.
And while we were away, that is a roughing the passer call early on KK Matheny. Rather, the Austin defense. That'll set up a 1st and 10 for Nashville. And getting back to Danica Brace, I've known her for many years, dating back to 2010. I could not be more proud of this moment where Danica Brace gets an opportunity to now shine as a head coach in the LFL.
You know, I can tell she's going to be a great coach because the first thing she did is hire assistants, a great staff underneath her. We'll talk about them later on, but she knows what she's doing.
Now let's meet Nashville starters.
Nicole Phillips, center.
Dominique Malloy, wide receiver.
Danielle Hawkins, tight end.
Whitney Palmer, tight end.
Jade Randall, wide receiver.
Stevie Schnorr, running back.
KK Matheny, quarterback.
For Austin to have any chance at all tonight, they have to stop the running game of Stevie Schnorr and Dominique Malloy, the best in the LFL.
Now a 2nd and 8. That is Jade Randall in motion. Toss left to the bull, Stevie Schnorr. And she'll be limited to a pair of yards as we meet Austin's defense.
CC McMillan, corner. Rachel Washington, corner. Kendra Robinson, strong safety.
Megan Martinez, safety.
Brandy Stolte, middle linebacker.
Brittany Dowdy, defensive end. Courtney Dowdy, defensive end.
There is no question the star of that defense is Kendra Robinson. Last year's Rookie of the Year. She is the key tonight to have any chance in this game. She has to play big and stop that running game of Nashville.
We've already seen 2 great open field tackles by Robinson on Schnorr. Now dropping back to pass Matheny to the end zone. That looked like miscommunication, and now we've got another penalty. Jade Randall is liking the call, may be on CC McMillan. Possibly a pass interference. We'll get the call here in a second, but McMillan, her hands are full here in the first quarter.
I got to question the coaching staff on that. Isolated 1-on-1 against the MVP of the league, I'd throw it to her every time.
That is head referee Jerry Lovehorn confirming the call. And I honestly, from what I've seen here through the first quarter, I don't know that I don't go back to Jade Randall here.
You have to. Roderick Green, the defensive coordinator for Austin, I don't understand. The MVP of the league, you have to double up, make them throw the ball somewhere else.
McMillan once again at the bottom of your screen, matched up one-on-one. Again, Stevie Schnorr. And to this point, at least, this Austin defense is containing the bull, limiting her to only a couple yards.
Robinson has no fear. I mean, she is only 5'3", and Stevie Schnorr, one of the biggest backs in the league, but she has no fear going one-on-one, and that's a win right there for the Austin defense.
KK Matheny really managing this offense well. This is the same offense that was run in Seattle. Head coach Chris Michelson of Seattle now acting as a consultant. And just like that, Nashville with Jade Randall on her 2nd score of the first quarter.
Boom goes the dynamite. Just like that, they're up 2 scores on Austin. They look like a championship team. It's kind of weird, though. I'm trying to get used to seeing KK Matheny wearing the baby blue and navy, the Nashville colors, and not the neon green of Seattle.
I was talking about earlier, right before this score, Chris Michelson, the legendary offensive mind that coached in Seattle for many years. After he retired this offseason, he was invited down by Danica Brace to consult with Nashville, and we're seeing a lot of his offense on display tonight.
Again, that shows you how smart Danica Brace is. If you have access to a mind like Chris Michelson's, why not use it? One of the best offensive minds ever in the LFL.
Matheny just standing flat-footed at the back of the end zone, and that's what'll happen. An interception. So back-to-back extra point attempts, no good for Nashville. Our score will remain 12-0.
Not a great play by KK. Stevie Schnorr wide open in the right corner. She stands flat-footed instead of moving around like she can do better than anybody. Not a good play.
Megan Martinez on the interception, but damage done with Nashville up 12-0.
That's no reason why they got back to me like that. They attacked the goddamn line of scrimmage. We gotta come off the fucking ball. Quit waiting, goddammit. If you can't block, put your ass on the goddamn sideline. Let's go.
There's a bit of that intensity as we welcome you back to LFL football night. A position that Austin unfortunately has seen themselves in prior, already down 12-0.
They shouldn't be down. Just as the coach said, if there was any protection around Tajay Winfrey on that last play, they would have had 6 points. They have to protect their quarterback.
Austin will start at its own 15-yard line. We've yet to see Tashay Winfrey really open it up. This can be a very explosive offense, a lot of speed on the outside. A 1st and 10, that is a toss left to Michelle Marshall. Look at that open field tackle by the rookie Chelsea Nicole.
Chelsea Nicole threw off the block of Megan Martinez, almost a whiff. No blocking outside, nowhere to go. Nashville came to play tonight.
We talked about Austin getting bigger up front, but unless you're physical, it doesn't matter your size. You've got to engage, right?
100%. They have the Dowdy twin towers up front. They're both almost 6 feet tall, but you've got to be physical.
A 2nd and 11. Ball going back to Marshall. And that is Molly Richardson coming up to make the tackle as we meet Nashville's defense.
Dominique Malloy, cornerback.
Chelsea Nicole, cornerback.
Stevie Schnorr, strong safety.
Jade Randall, safety.
Danielle Hawkins, linebacker.
Whitney Palmer, defensive end.
Nene Gleaves, defensive end.
It's simply amazing. We talk about Jade Randall all the time, playing wide receiver, one of the best in the league, but she is also probably the best safety in the league. A single safety, high safety, the best. Jade Randall, watch out for her tonight.
How about that 3rd and 10 stop by Danielle Hawkins? And Austin out of punting range, so they've got to go for it here.
That defensive front right now for Nashville is dominating Austin. They are so physical, and it's showing. Austin has not shown up tonight.
That is not a look of confidence from head coach Mike Oliveira, desperately trying to call a timeout. And they do not see it. Leilani Lopez on the reverse. Not even close, as Austin will turn it over on downs.
I just don't understand the play selection. You have one of the best pocket quarterbacks the LFL has ever seen, and you're running the ball like that on 4th down. It makes no sense.
Head coach Mike Oliveira was desperately trying to call a timeout. You can see he's talking it over with Tashay Winfrey. And once again, Nashville taking over on the Austin side of the field.
We spoke about Tashay Winfrey's arm, her gun, the best we've ever seen in the league, and we haven't seen it tonight. They're not trying to throw the football.
KK Matheny loves this. How about you start on the opposition side of the field every time? A 1st and 10 from the 21 of Austin. That is an inside handoff. Whitney Palmer! And Palmer in the open field and into the end zone. Touchdown, Nashville.
Throw me another marshmallow right now. This offense of Nashville is on fire. They're scoring at will right now. Why underneath? Coach Danica Brace told me about number 7, one of the best rookies. She said she's physical, she's strong, and she goes right through this defense into the end zone. Wow.
And that was one of the better tacklers, Kendria Robinson, whiffing on Whitney Palmer right before the goal line.
With all these superstars on Nashville, we even talked about the rookies. Whitney Palmer will be all fantasy. I've never heard Danica Brace speak so highly about a rookie, especially when she was with Seattle. She didn't even like talking about rookies. She said Whitney Palmer will be a star.
A 2-point attempt, handoff to Randall. And there was no opposition there. Nashville getting in easily and extending their lead to 20-0.
I'm in shock right now. I really thought this was going to be a shootout. I thought Austin, during the offseason, they bulked up on defense. Right now, they're getting blown out.
Oh, it's a shootout, all right, just on one side of the field.
Right, Austin's getting shot. There's shots coming across the border.
I've said it for years, the LFL game, because it's such a condensed field, it is all about field position. And what Austin has done throughout the entire first quarter is turn it over on their side of the field.
Right, they have to throw the football. They have great receivers, great quarterback. They have to start throwing.
And they're going to take your advice. 1st and 10, connecting. And on cue, there's a reason Bobby Hugo was an outstanding offensive coordinator with the Miami Caliente.
The Caliente can light it up just like Tashay Winfrey. Watch, just let her throw the football in the pocket, good protection, a post pattern to go after the weakest person on Nashville, Nicole Chelsea, the rookie. Look how easy that was. Keep doing it.
Cassandra Bills led the league in yards per catch in 2017. And there she is again in motion. A 1st and 10, ball at the 14. It looked like Austin may have jumped. A release attempt to Kendria Robinson. And Robinson dropping what could have been a possible first down.
Good call, just bad execution. You're right, the running back jumped and then Tashay threw it high and then Robinson didn't catch it. It was a good call, could have gone for big yardage, it just didn't execute.
After that incomplete pass, it'll set up a 2nd and 10. Ball at about the 13-yard line, the deepest penetration by Austin all night. A triple back set, toss to Cassandra Bills. Bills trying to get to the outside. And that Nashville defense is very athletic and very fast.
Bills has the speed to get on the edge. She needs some blocking out there. Again, I like the call, but she needs some help up front with the blocking. And now it is the biggest call of the game here for Austin.
Yeah, I don't understand it. They're much bigger up front now. If you look at the front line for Austin, you've got Brandy Stolte, who is an all-fantasy center. Steph McCormick is back, and they've got the Argentine there, your favorite.
Coach Oliveira, yeah, he spoke highly of Laura Zerga from Argentina, the best player. She's 38 years old, a veteran player from Argentina. He looks for a lot of stuff from her, but not so far tonight.
This could be our final play of the first quarter. From the 11-yard line, a 3rd and 8 handoff to Kendria Robinson. And Robinson showing some explosion. A nice-looking 5-yard carry.
Great cut by Robinson. She's got a lot of raw talent, but I'm kind of shocked they're not throwing the football. When they threw it, it was so easy to complete that ball to Bills, but they haven't gone back to it.
That'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. A quarter pretty much dominated by the expansion Nashville Knights, as Austin finds itself in a deep hole, 20-0.
LFL Mobile, giving you access to the gridiron goddesses of the LFL with exclusive photos, videos, live game reporting, and fan promotions. LFL Mobile. Download on your Android or iPhone.
Hey, this is Nashville defense. We live for this shit. Look at this fucking squad. Good God Almighty. Hey, and that's exactly what we did. We set the tone. They're trying to run outside every time now. They're trying to get the end and around because they don't want shit to do with the middle, and I don't blame them.
Welcome back to LFL Football Night. A listen in to that Nashville sideline. And rookie first-year head coach Danica Brace has got to be impressed by the effort of her team early.
100%, and I'm impressed by the rookie coach, Danica Brace. Most teams take on the personality of their head coach, and she played with fire and passion. That's what the Nashville defense is doing right now.
The biggest play for Austin of the night, a 4th and 3, fakes the handoff, going to the end zone. And just beyond the outstretched arms of Brittany Dowdy.
I like the call. It's a naked boot, but you got to get your head around quick because you have no protection. Palmer's right in her face. That ball should have been off. She's open. Actually, the ball gets there. It could have been caught for a touchdown.
Dowdy dropping what would have been the biggest play of the night thus far. And look at the pressure applied by Whitney Palmer.
Whitney Palmer fits perfectly in with this Nashville defense. We didn't know much about her before the game, but she's showing her stuff right now.
I got to tell you, the veterans are delivering, but we're seeing a couple rookies that could play a big role down the stretch for Nashville.
This team is already loaded. Now you put in Palmer and Cleaves. I mean, who knows? They could win another championship.
KK Matheny just managing the game to this point. Hasn't had to really go out there on a limb except for the early connection with Jade Randall. A 1st and 10 from the Nashville 6. That is a toss to the bull. And Stevie Schnorr being contained by that Austin defense early, this time limited to 3 yards.
That was a contain. Look right there, 8.9 yards average, 12 TDs last year. I mean, she's getting yardage, but right now they're containing her.
A 2nd and 7, ball backed up to the Nashville 9-yard line. We'll see if Austin can get a stop here. I mean, you're down 20-0. at some point, this defense has got to dig in.
Kendria Robinson has to make a big play, a turnover or something, or they're going to get blown out tonight.
2nd and 7, handoff again to the Bull, and look at that open field tackle. Kendria Robinson, outweighed by about 60 pounds, nearly suplexes the Bull.
Kendria Robinson, 134. Stevie Schnorr, 165. That was a textbook tackle. Wow, one-on-one. I've never seen anybody do that to Stevie Schnorr. Wow.
We saw Robinson absolutely beat up on another power back, Carmen Borceau of Los Angeles. That is where she made her name, and you could see. Look at the assisted tackles, look at the overall tackles, and that's from the safety position.
Kendria Robinson came to play tonight. She needs some of her teammates to step their game up like her, and they might do okay.
A 3rd and 4 from the shotgun. Matheny has a receiver. Connecting with Whitney Palmer. We talked about Jade Randall, Danielle Hawkins and company, but this first quarter has been pretty much owned by Whitney Palmer.
Whitney Palmer becoming a great offensive weapon for KK Matheny, just like you and me. She didn't know she was this good. She's finding out, now she's going to her.
That'll set up a 1st and 10 ball at midfield. This offense is going to be explosive this season. There's not a downside to this offense at all.
Not at all. The only downside is the equipment manager right now. You can see KK Matheny having problems with her chin strap.
A 1st and 10, rolling right Matheny, and real wisely just getting down. That is the work of a wily veteran. Matheny now in her 8th year in the LFL.
Smart move by KK. The 8th year, she's taken some shots, but she's still the best scrambling quarterback in the league.
We've got yet another flag. This appears to be on Austin. You could see KK Matheny and head referee Lovehorn talking it over. This is a crew working their first ever LFL game. We'll see how the officiating goes.
It looked like KK Matheny actually convinced him what to call right there. She's got swag. I like that.
The penalty is going to be an illegal procedure. It could be that 3-yard buffer. So when you're outside of the 10-yard line in the LFL, you have to give offenses a 3-yard buffer.
And they did not. KK Matheny saw that and showed the referees.
A 1st and 5 from the 20, rolling right Matheny, looking to Randall, and connecting again, this time for 15 yards.
KK Matheny, another great read. One-on-one coverage again. They isolated Randall. Kendria Robinson, one-on-one. Still, you can't cover Randall. She knew that. Just throw it out there. Great play by Nashville. Wow.
That looked like CeCe McMillan had over-the-top coverage, perhaps miscommunication between Robinson and McMillan. A 1st and goal handoff. Palmer fighting off defenders and getting into the end zone. How about the effort of the rookie Palmer?
Whitney Palmer is in beast mode right now. She had absolutely no blocking. That should have been a loss of 5. She broke all kinds of tackles and scored. This is unbelievable.
And she's breaking through arm tackles with some of the better defenders. Kendria Robinson had Palmer dead to rights at about the 5-yard line as she fought right through Robinson.
You have to wonder about the coaching. Roderick Green, a defensive coordinator, I hope he has better technique than that. They're not going to be able to stop anybody all year long.
It almost looked like, and you hate to say it this early in the game, that the Austin defense just gave up on that play.
They totally did. They thought she was down. They were walking away while she's going in the end zone.
Now the extra point attempt from the 1-yard line. The ball goes to Dominique Malloy. And that interior defense finally coming up for Austin. Lauren J getting the stop. That'll take us to a timeout.
Hey, it's time to score right now. It's time to fucking score, all right? I'm just giving it to y'all. So fucking score. Get past the man. Let's fucking go. On sound, ready?
Back to LFL football night. We got to listen in on the leadership of Tisha Winfrey. She knows that Austin has got to do something on this drive.
To have any chance about clawing back into this game, they have to score points now.
A 1st and 10 from the 15. Winfrey back to pass, trying down the field, and just overshooting Leilani Lopez.
Lopez wide open, should have been 6 points. Winfrey couldn't get the ball to her. They're just out of sync tonight on offense and defense. They just didn't show up. You can't spot 26 points to KK Matheny team and expect to win.
Now it looks like we do have a flag on the play. From what I saw, it looked to be maybe a grounding call or a roughing the passer. It is indeed roughing the passer. So that'll give Austin some life here. Tayshae Winfrey, we didn't see her missing those types of receivers last season.
Not at all. They got lucky there. I don't know if that was roughing the passer. They hit right when she was thrown. They got a break.
From midfield, Winfrey going to call her own number, trying to get to the outside. That is Jade Randall coming up from the safety position.
Good read on a spread option, trying to get positive yardage. But again, you got a quarterback who can throw. Keep throwing it. That's the only thing working.
That was a 4-yard carry by Winfrey, setting up a 3rd and 6. At least this offense is starting to move the ball. For most of the first quarter, they were 4 and out routinely.
Absolutely. I got to question the offensive game plan of Coach Oliveira. This team almost beat Seattle last year. The same players. Tonight they came in with a game plan of running the football. It's just not working.
A 2nd and 10. Ball at the Nashville 21-yard line. Winfrey back to pass over the middle. And just not on the same page as her receivers. That one intended for Michelle Marshall.
Again, one-on-one, a post pattern. If she put some air underneath it, it could have been completed. Right now, she's sharp as a spoon.
They have got to convert here. A 3rd and 10. We are nearing the 4-minute mark of the second quarter, and they are down 26-0.
They are demoralized right now. Tayshae Winfrey, she usually gives her receiver a chance to catch the football. Right now, she's not even close.
Winfrey will remain in the shotgun. It seems like Austin has switched officially to the pass game, but they will hand it off here to Lopez. Lopez has been one of the bright spots thus far. We saw her get behind the defense. They like her speed.
They like her speed, but again, did you see the timing on that? A jet sweep, you're supposed to time it perfectly, so she keeps the speed going. She stopped, literally stopped, when the snap came up. They're out of sync.
And here comes that Music City crowd on a 4th and 3. The biggest threat of the night thus far for Austin. Ball at the Nashville 18-yard line. Winfrey very comfortable in the shotgun, will remain there. Receivers flanked to each side, looking to the left. Now pump faking, dump off to Steph McCormick. McCormick will have enough for an Austin first down, and that'll move the chains.
I like the check down by Tayshae Winfrey. She faked deep and let McCormick, who's coming off of ACL surgery, I didn't know she could run like that. That's a good sign for her, but a good play by Winfrey, first down.
Yeah, McCormick just blazing past that turtle there. She is one of the speedsters on this roster, but yeah, all joking aside, overcame a serious ACL injury and now back out on the field.
Great to see her back. She's a great player, and she's a stud in that lineup.
A 1st and 10 now, ball at the Nashville 13. A quick slant to Bills. And Bills finally checking into this game with a 9-yard reception.
Another good call, quick slant. Get her the football in open space with that speed. Great call. Now they're looking like the old Austin team.
A very manageable 1st and goal here. Ball down at the 4-yard line of Nashville as we approach the 3-minute mark of the first half. Handoff, Michelle Marshall. And I'm not sure, that was the big criticism in the offseason. They were committed again to Marshall as the starting running back. She just does not have the size to make an impact in this league.
Right, she was supposed to be the tailback. Coach Oliveira said the idea was to have Brandy Stolte move to fullback, and then you move Steph McCormick back to center, her home position, but Stolte is still hurt, so they couldn't make that move, so they're stuck with Marshall playing fullback.
Austin now flanking 3 receivers to the right side of Winfrey. Winfrey looking over that defense from the shotgun. Ball at the 4-yard line. Winfrey back to pass under pressure. And that time throwing behind Cassandra Bills.
Should have been caught by Bills. Not a good pass. Should have been 6, but a very catchable football. Stop, catch the football, go back, and you score. Not a good pass, not a good catch. Again, bad execution.
Very uncharacteristic for both Kendria Robinson and Cassandra Bills. Normally very sure-handed with drops here in the first half.
The entire team is off by a beat. It's unbelievable. Coach Oliveira right now probably wishes he could hit restart, start this game over.
A 4th and goal at the Nashville 4. Fast approaching the 2-minute warning. Winfrey under center, fakes the handoff, throwing into the flat and connecting. That is Brittany Dowdy. Trying to break through arm tackles, will not get in. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning in Nashville, with Austin finally threatening. Back to LFL football night in a 26-0 blowout. As Nashville has dominated to this point, Austin finally mounting a rally late in the second quarter.
What really might have helped them is moving Steph McCormick back to center. That line's playing with some intensity right now.
Nashville stacking that front defense, and Michelle Marshall getting through the defense like a hot knife going through butter.
That's how it's done, like a hot knife going through butter. Look at a block by Steph McCormick, just stymieing Danielle Hawkins. That's all you got to do, stand her up. In the back, Michelle Marshall can make a cut. Great dive play by Austin.
A good inside block as well by Brittany Dowdy on the middle linebacker Stevie Schnorr. Michelle Marshall finally delivering for this offense. And Austin has 6 points on the board. There's a look at Marshall's numbers, respectable last year.
Exactly, solid back. She needs help back there. You give her a fullback in front of her, it's a good combination.
Here's the extra point attempt, wide open. Brittany Dowdy finally playing some dividends for this offense.
I'm not going to underplay Steph McCormick, the center. That's the quarterback of the line. The center keeps everybody together. They look like a different team on offense with her in there. Everything's working right now.
Now, Austin does get the ball to start the second half. So how key of a stop would this be on this drive for this defense to finally hold them?
This is huge. One stop, you're right. They could possibly score before halftime again, and then they get the ball back in the second half. You're exactly right. One stop can put them back in this football game.
And you could see Nashville not shy there. They were looking for Jade Randall on the go pattern, not able to connect.
KK, you got to throw with your feet. We always tell her that. She was open, but the ball was way off the target.
2nd and 10, ball at the Nashville 15. They're going to hand it off to the Bull. And Stevie Schnorr in the open field. We do have a flag on this. Possibly a hold on Nashville. I didn't really see anything there.
This looks like the old Stevie Schnorr, right up the middle, going right over Martinez. Oh, wow, you can't do that. The Bull pulling the helmet off Martinez. A straight arm would have worked, but she yanked the helmet off.
It's from the spot. It's from the spot of the foul. It's from the spot of the foul, not where we started. It's from the spot of the foul.
You think KK Matheny knows that this is a first-time LFL officiating crew?
Just like NBA coaches, she's working the officials, and they're working for her.
Now they're calling a face mask on Stevie Schnorr, clearly ripping the helmet off of Megan Martinez.
She should have just stayed with the straight arm. You can't rip it off like that. That's a penalty.
So that'll back up this Nashville offense. A 2nd and 18. Dominique Malloy. What an open field tackle by number 15, Valerie Quintero.
Now this is how to run a jet sweep. Malloy coming full speed. She doesn't stop at all. KK gets her the football while she's going full tilt, almost a 10-yard gain. That is a jet sweep.
And look at Jade Randall blocking down the field. Randall and Malloy, especially Malloy, an unsung hero of that Legends Cup championship team. This one complete in the flat to Danielle Hawkins. And Hawkins muscling through defenders. A nice looking 9-yard reception.
And a great read by KK Matheny. She went down the food chain to her third receiver. Hawkins out in the flat for 9 yards. Great read.
Hawkins not happy being known as the third member of the food chain, but a 9-yard reception, and that'll keep this drive alive.
She wasn't the first choice. It was a good read. She came back down. She could be first on the food chain on other plays.
Absolutely, especially we have Jade Randall, Whitney Palmer now, Dominique Malloy, Stevie Schnorr. There are a lot of weapons on this offense.
For an expansion team, they are absolutely loaded.
You could see Danica Brace coaching him up. That's got to be an eerie feeling for her and an uneasy feeling. One of the best linebackers in the history of the game, and not to be able to get out on the field and play alongside a Stevie Schnorr and a KK Matheny and a Jade Randall.
I'm going to tell you what, in her first half as a head coach of the LFL, she might be calling a better game than Chris Michelson did his first game.
Certainly an impressive debut here for Danica Brace on a 3rd and 1. That is Stevie Schnorr delivering what will be a 1st and 10.
Unstoppable, 3rd and short, give the ball to Stevie Schnorr and she'll get the yardage.
Clock ticking down and KK Matheny electing to kill it, preserving the last 38 seconds here in the second half. Nashville can really take a commanding lead here going into halftime.
I like their attitude. Stop the clock, go after more points, go for the jugular.
A 2nd and 10 deep in the pocket is Matheny going down the field. And both Randall and it looked like number 2, Melissa Romero, both going up for that, a 50-50 ball. And Randall not able to come down with it.
Usually a 50-50 ball, you get it to Randall anywhere close to her. She's one of those receivers that's open when she's covered. Great defensive play. Great play by KK Matheny trying to get her the ball.
Matheny not hesitant at all and certainly has the arm to get down the field. I kind of like what I'm seeing toward the tail end of the half from the Austin defense. They're bending, but they're not breaking.
You're right, one stop. I mean, it's LFL. You can score quick with this offense with Tashay Winfrey. Just one stop and you might be back in it.
Matheny back to pass again, flat-footed into the end zone. And what a recovery. That looked like Marissa Goldston, the corner from Fort Worth, Texas, getting there at the last second.
You're right, she closed at the last second. That looked like 6. I thought that was being a touchdown. She closed and made a great defensive stop.
Now Nashville's going for the home run every play. They had some time to work underneath and they have a timeout left, so I'm a little surprised that they're going down the field on each play.
If they're open or if it's one-on-one, you got to give it a shot.
Matheny back to pass under some duress. Going over the middle and overshooting her target, Jade Randall. So Nashville very clear about its intentions. They're going to look to Randall.
Randall again, it went off her hands. That was a bullet, maybe too hard. I would think Randall thought she would catch that ball, but they're trying to score points.
And there's the fire in the belly of the beast that we haven't seen from Austin. Marissa Goldston with a great job there, shutting down Randall on the previous 2 pass plays.
That's what we thought we'd see from the start of this football game. You're right, they're playing good football right now at the end of the first half.
So 11 seconds remain. Austin does have a timeout remaining. Plenty of time for this offense to take a shot at the end zone. This is Winfrey back to pass over the middle. And again, just not on the same page and not very accurate. That one intended for Lopez.
Lopez wide open, coming underneath. All you have to do is get her the football. She had room to run. Who knows where that would have went? You can't throw it in the ground.
With Lopez's speed, they really like her in the open field. Again, that was a toss and catch. You saw Winfrey routinely connect on those in 2017.
That could have been a huge play for Austin.
8 seconds. This could be the final play of the half. They're going to check down underneath. An interesting call. That will have no chance. That was complete to Lopez, but that will take us into the half. And you could see the frustration on Lopez. Austin leaving points on the field. And that'll take us into the half. A half that Nashville started out very strong, very physical. Whitney Palmer, the star of the first half. Back with halftime after this.
Get your head out of your ass! This shit fucking works if you run it right.
A look inside the Austin Acoustic locker room as we welcome you back to LFL football night. Mitch Mortaze and Bobby Huco. An upset and alarm Mike Oliveira as his team trails this one 26-8 at halftime. Now, Bobby Huco, I ask you, the Nashville Knights looked very good on paper coming into tonight. They look even better on the field.
I really like the chemistry between quarterback KK Matheny and wide receiver Jade Randall. They look exactly like they did when they won the Legends Cup championship in 2017. And their running game is sound, led by Stevie Schnorr and maybe the most explosive running back in the LFL, Dominic Malloy.
Yeah, they look good on both sides of the ball, which is scary for Austin in the second half. But if there's an area that this Acoustic team could possibly exploit, what would it be?
To have any chance at crawling back in this game, they have to attack the weakness of Nashville's defense, and it's not much of a weakness, but it is their secondary. Tashay Winfrey can do it. She needs to open up that explosive offense.
Yeah, they really have to crawl back into this game, kind of like you crawled on Broadway last night. I had to pick you up off the ground a couple times. Now, Austin has to make up an 18-point gap as Nashville blew it wide open in the first half. Let's look at some of the scoring. First, it was Jade Randall connecting with KK Matheny on a 30-yard bomb. Then it was the rookie Whitney Palmer with runs of 21 and 5 yards. Right before the half, the Austin Acoustic did get on the board with this Michelle Marshall 3-yard touchdown run. That brings us to our halftime score of 26-8 as we look at the stats.
What screams out at me is the dominance of the Nashville offense, primarily on the ground, but also in the air. Austin has to open up that passing attack, and somehow their defense has to shut down Stevie Schnorr and KK Matheny so their offense can score some points.
2 minutes of football remain. Can Austin rally? Or will the party continue in Music City? The second half kickoff is next. Back to LFL football night in Music City. And thus far, a great debut for the Nashville Knights on top of the Austin Acoustic 26-8.
I really got to question that last call by Coach Oliveira, not throwing the ball in the end zone. A quick score, they're right back in the game. Underneath, they didn't have a chance.
That was a short kick by Rachel Bauman and a great return by Kendria Robinson.
You have to take advantage right now, the field position. You got the ball almost in their territory. Right now, I would open it up.
Austin was showing life late in the first half, and if it weren't for that first quarter, I don't think this game would be that much of a margin here.
Not at all. It'd be a one-score game. The running game opened up with Steph McCormick at center. They've had the post pattern open with Bills early in the game. They should try that again.
You could see number 5, Steph McCormick, remains in at center. Randy Stolte, who started, seems to be out with an aggravated injury. Winfrey back to pass over the middle and connecting. A 26-yard bomb to Leilani Lopez. Touchdown, Austin.
Now that's the quick strike Austin offense we're used to seeing all last year. What a route by Lopez. She totally outfaked the league MVP. Jade Randall, 6 points, absolutely as quick as you can get them in the second half. They're back in the ball game.
Cassandra Bills received top billing all of 2017, and you can make an argument that Leilani Lopez was really in the shadow of Bills, but tonight, she's the biggest contributor on that roster.
She's on fire right now. That route, you can't draw up a route. She out-deked, out-faked, whatever you want to do to the league MVP on a post pattern wide open. Randall was nowhere to be seen.
Michelle Marshall here on the extra point, no chance. Again, just completely overwhelmed. Marshall just not having the size to be a short down back in this league.
He knows he needs to get a fullback, and hopefully he'll have Stolte there when she's healthy. But Austin back in the game. They're only 12 points down, and the whole half is still to go.
Matheny answering right back to Hawkins. And Hawkins stumbling into the end zone. No flags, touchdown Nashville.
Wow, as soon as I said they're back in the ball game, how can Roderick Green, a defensive coordinator, not have a safety back? Again, KK Matheny showing she's the veteran quarterback she is. She saw there's nobody back there, finds her wide open. Just like that, they answer to score. Wow.
Danielle Hawkins nearly falling down, maintaining her balance, and walking into the end zone.
I really like how KK Matheny's playing tonight. She has moxie. She's a veteran. She's making great reads, great throws, and they look like a championship team right now.
That was an absolute backbreaker. After that completion to Lopez in the end zone, you thought there was some momentum building. Here we go, Austin. On the very next play, KK Matheny connecting with Hawkins. And that is the extra point attempt by Dominique Malloy. And just like that, the score goes back to 33-14 as we look at Malloy's 2017 numbers.
That is why she's the most explosive running back in the game. I think she has gunpowder in her blood. Did you see how quick she got in the end zone? Bam, points, just like that.
Now here's a character check for Tashay Winfrey. You're on the road in Nashville, outmanned, outgunned, down 33-14. Let's see what kind of moxie you have.
She's got moxie too. They're back. I mean, their game looks good right now, their passing game.
A 1st and 10 from the 15, stepping up in the pocket. And now wisely just tossing it out of bounds. That could have been an intentional grounding because it looked like Winfrey was still in the pocket.
She was in the pocket. She should have let it loose. It was a stop and go to Bills. Bills was open deep. I don't think Winfrey thought she had time, so to avoid the sack, she just threw it away. But you know what? When you're down 19 points, you got to give it a shot.
A 2nd and 10. Austin now back 19 points. Certainly not an insurmountable lead, not in this league, and certainly not with this offense. That is a quick bubble screen. There's the accuracy again of Winfrey just being off tonight.
She's way off tonight. That's probably the easiest pass you can throw. All you got to do is get her the football out there, and she does the rest in open space. Not even close. She couldn't even jump for it.
You know, a nod to our LFL 360 guys, the editorial wing of the league. Their #1 scouting report this offseason from the training camp in Austin was Tashay Winfrey's accuracy is off.
That comes down to coaching. Repetition, repetition, repetition. That's all it is. Keep throwing it so there's not even a question to complete that pass.
A crossing pattern to Leilani Lopez. That one off as well. Setting up a 3rd and 10.
As you mentioned, there's only been a couple passes. She's been on the money. The post patterns were fine. Everything else, she's not even close.
I don't know if she's getting happy feet in the pocket. She has been under duress most of the night. Whitney Palmer has been coming off the edge like a bat out of hell, so perhaps she's getting a little antsy in the pocket.
She has enough time, though. I know what you mean. She got hurt last year. She got rocked last year, so maybe she's a little hesitant in the pocket.
A 4th and 10, Austin. That is Winfrey climbing up in the pocket and not going anywhere. A great tackle and sack by Stevie Schnorr.
To your point, she should have let that go. You take that little hitch right there, you're going to get hit. As a quarterback, you got to let it throw. She was worried about getting sacked, and that's what happens.
This looks like a carbon copy of what we saw in the first quarter, where Austin's offense would go 4 and out and give Nashville a very short field.
And I really like the play selection Danica Brace is doing. She's not conservative. She's letting KK throw the ball around the field.
Matheny from under center, looking into the flat, has a receiver. That is Jade Randall, and it looked like the defender Cassandra Bills had simply lost her footing.
Great pre-snap read by KK Matheny. She saw Bills lining up inside on man-to-man coverage. She knew she had a corner route to Randall. Randall made like she's in the post, cuts it back out, wide open, delivers a strike. Touchdown again for Nashville.
Coming into tonight, I think a lot of people thought Nashville was going to have a grounded out game here with Stevie Schnorr, the league's leading back from 2017, a compliment like Dominique Malloy. But what we're seeing here is the big play potential of this offense.
And it was always there. Even in Seattle, KK Matheny had this potential, but for some reason, Chris Michelson would shut her down. It looks like right now, her and Danica Brace have a great relationship. Quarterback and head coach, no arguing, moving the football, throwing the football, running the football, and racking up big points.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting dynamic and an excellent point by you, Bobby Hugo, is that there is that best friend relationship between KK Matheny and Danica Brace. I am certain that it's giving KK Matheny a much wider leash to do what she wants.
I think you're right. With Coach Michelson, he's one of the best ever. He's in the Hall of Fame. But he would always say to KK what he wants done. I'm sure, just like you said, she's getting a long leash. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if KK's calling some of the plays.
That was a great 1st and 10 breakup here by Jade Randall, so doing it on both sides of the ball. Look at her closing speed. That pass was intended for Brittany Dowdy, setting up a 2nd and 10. Randall just as impressive on the defensive side of the ball in all fantasy safety.
One of the greatest players I've seen ever in the LFL. I'll tell you what, if you're a brand new Nashville fan, you gotta love this team you have. I mean, this is fun watching them play.
A poor low snap back to Winfrey, and she'll take a loss of a couple yards. That'll back them up for a 3rd and 12. And we'll take a media timeout here from Nashville in a game that the home team has dominated, but Austin trying to rally. To 3rd quarter action of LFL football night. Mitch Mortaza and Bobby Hugo on the call. 3:50 remaining here in the 3rd quarter.
It's really like Austin didn't come to play tonight. I mean, I'm really disappointed. I thought this was going to be a team that would contend for the title this year. They're making too many mistakes. Just like you said, the snap right there, the timing on the jet sweep, the throwing to the receivers, there's no timing. They're not ready to play yet.
That was a 5-yard carry by Winfrey. A 4th and 7. If Austin has any hopes of mounting a rally here, they have got to get a 1st down. Otherwise, you're giving Nashville yet another short field. Ball at the 18-yard line. Winfrey taking her time from the shotgun, dropping back. Looking over the middle, has a receiver and connecting. A much-needed 1st down. That was a dart to Cassandra Bills.
Great pass, great route underneath. Again, they went against number 16, Nicole Chelsea, the rookie, and it keeps working. I'm just shocked they haven't tried that more often. Bills, as we talked about in the pregame, one of the most dangerous receivers in the league. You got to throw the ball to her.
So that'll set up a 1st and 10. Ball now on the Nashville side of the field. Empty back set from the shotgun. Winfrey into the flat again. Not accurate to Bills.
Like we said with KK Matheny, you have to throw the football with your feet. Good quarterbacks throw the football with accuracy the way they move their feet. Right there to Shea Winfrey, falling back. She couldn't even get the ball close to Bills.
The Nashville defense now knows the rest of the way Austin is in a passing mode, so they're really pinning their ears back and getting after Winfrey.
You're right. They are going hard after, and you got to love the way their rookies are coming after the quarterback.
A 2nd and 10. Ball remains at the 18 of Nashville. From the shotgun, this is a draw play. Michelle Marshall getting to the edge. A good-looking run, but that'll be no gain. A lot of effort and not moving the sticks.
It's a read option. She pulls the ball, but that does show you the quicks of Marshall. She's a solid back, not a superstar. She gets the job done. She needs help back there, though. Another partner, a fullback, and she'll be the tailback.
Yeah, Marshall strikes me as more of a 3rd down, or in this league, a 4th down back. I don't know that she's your full-time 10, 12 touches a game back.
Not at all, because teams will not respect her as that kind of a back. Then they'll be all going back for the pass plays.
An empty back set. Winfrey back to pass over the middle, complete. That is Leilani Lopez breaking through arm tackles and into the end zone. What about the night that Lopez is having?
I'm going to tell you what, I think she breaks 4 tackles here. 1, 2, it's unbelievable. 3. I think it's 4 players miss her. I'm going to tell you what, Austin has 99 problems, but Leilani Lopez is not one. What a game she's having.
What a breakout game for the 5'3", 105-pound wide receiver.
I just don't get it. They have her, they have Bills, they have all kind of talent at receiver, and they haven't been doing it all night long. If that's what you got, use your talent.
You got to have more people like that have a little fire in their belly. As we said in the first half, we saw it from Marissa Goldston, but you're not seeing it from a lot of the frontline players. You're not seeing it from Tashay Winfrey. Those are the key positions to have that kind of moxie.
Well, you said it. It's the quarterback. It starts with the quarterback. If she doesn't get the team fired up, look at KK Matheny. That team plays for her right now. Tashay Winfrey's team is not playing for her because she's not into it.
Yeah, Winfrey looks like she's checked out of this game. Look at that look on her face. She is not here tonight, and she's not checked into this ball game.
No, she isn't. We've seen her play. We've seen her light up the LFL, which we thought she was going to do tonight, but she is not on fire at all.
So Nashville taking over again, up 19 points with under 40 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. And they're going to do that in all of the fourth quarter, I would imagine, with this kind of lead. Give it to your horse, or your bull in this case, Stevie Schnorr.
This is actually great for Stevie Schnorr and her career. Usually she'd get the ball like 30 times a game. Tonight, because they're spreading the football around to everybody, she's not getting beat up.
Yeah, she's going to be fresh going into the latter half of the season. We're assuming Nashville's going to contend in the Eastern Conference. And if they do, you're right. They're not going to have to ride the bull as much as they did in Seattle last year.
I don't think there's a question they're going to contend. I've never seen KK Matheny this comfortable. She looks like this is her team.
And that'll bring us to the end of 3 quarters of play from Nashville. The hometown Knight lead it by 19. Leilani Lopez, the only one showing heart for Austin. Back to fourth quarter action. The Nashville Knights with a commanding 39-20 lead.
I'm going to tell you what, this is the first game ever for a female coach in the LFL with Danica Brace. I was expecting more mistakes, more coaching mistakes. It's almost been flawless. With the exception of Stevie Schnorr ripping off the girl's helmet, it's been a great game for Nashville and for Danica Brace.
Yeah, Keith Hack who? Tuisoe Noah who? Welcome Danica Brace to the LFL coaching fraternity.
Seriously, the game has been flawless pretty much for Nashville. No fights, no talking trash, just good football and scoring points.
That was an 8-yard carry by the Bull, so she is starting to wear down this Austin defense.
It's fun to watch her run for such a big power back. I love the way she reads blocks. She waits for people to block in front of her, gets big yardage, and more importantly, runs clock right now.
So now a 1st and 10 at the Austin 24, and the handoff goes to Malloy. Malloy in the open field. And what a block on the backside by Whitney Palmer. Touchdown, Nashville.
Whitney Palmer is playing like she's been in the league 8 years. A great run. Watch the explosive speed of Malloy. The fastest back the league has ever seen. Cuts outside. Now watch Palmer. She leads her down stride for stride, then comes back on Robinson on a peel-back block to clear her for 6 points. What a play by both of them.
A 24-yard run by Dominique Malloy. Malloy starting her career with the Las Vegas Sin, and then going back up to Seattle, her hometown, and then finally ending up here in Nashville.
How many weapons do they have? We haven't really talked about Malloy all night. Here we think they're going to run clock, and she breaks a long one for 6.
And here's the extra point attempt. Jade Randall trying to fight to the goal line. She will not make it, so our score remains 45-20. Nashville with a very comfortable lead.
Very comfortable. They look like a championship team. We keep saying that because a lot of these girls did.
Well, they are.
Yeah, they played for Seattle last year.
You know, a lot of people joke around the league. This is the Seattle Knights.
It really is.
Not taking anything away from Whitney Palmer, who's had an excellent night tonight. But really, the impact players have all been the Seattle free agent signings. And look at this. Leilani Lopez having the game of a lifetime and not willing to just give up.
I question the offensive coordinator, the head coach, Mike Oliveira. This is what they do. They throw velocity shots down the field. They did that all last year. If they would have been doing this all night long, they'd be in this game. That's what we thought we were going to see.
And that's got to be the one concern if I'm Danica Brace, is my secondary. You talked about it at halftime, and I asked you, what is the one area you can exploit on this Nashville team? And you said it was the secondary.
You're right. It's not weak, but it's the weakest part of the team. And right there, they've been getting burnt all night long on post patterns. I mean, Jade Randall's all leg, and she's getting burnt right there. But that's what Austin does. I just can't believe they didn't start the game out doing that.
Now the extra point attempt from the 1 yard line. That is Lopez in motion. Rolling right, Winfrey now throwing across her body. I believe that was intended for Lopez and not able to connect. But we see how quickly this Austin offense can strike.
Right, and look how it strikes. You got to keep her in the pocket. You don't have her run spread options or do bootlegs and all that. You keep her in the pocket. The line puts the pocket out there and having great protection when they put her straight back, and she throws darts like that for 6.
And Winfrey did miss Lopez earlier in the game, I believe in the first quarter, on a go pattern. This would have been the 3rd or 4th touchdown for Lopez.
That's what they do. I mean, you do what you do. They have the talent to throw over anybody like we talked about in pregame, and they can. They just did it. They've done it a couple times tonight. They should do that all game long.
So if you're Nashville here, is this Stevie the Bull Schnorr time?
It absolutely is. But if you're Austin, you got to remember these points right now. They've played some plays like that. It looks like the old quick strike Austin offense. They've had great play by Leonie Lopez. I mean, Steph McCormick. They've shown signs of the old Austin. They just got to come into the arena ready to play as a team.
Now, this is a bit surprising. And maybe it's because there's so much game film out there on this exactly being Stevie the Bull Schnorr time. But they're going to Dominique Malloy here.
I like it. I mean, you know what? There's so much history behind these running backs. That's what we were going to say. You go right to Stevie Schnorr, let her run it out. But you know what? Danica Brace is thinking, you know what? Let's use all our talent. And they're doing it.
Malloy getting a lot of touches. You don't see her get featured this much in an offense, but they're giving her the opportunity. This goes back to Schnorr. That'll be a 2-yard carry out to midfield.
I know I've been saying it a lot in the last quarter, but I can't tell you how good an opening game is. As an ex-head coach for Danica Brace, I mean, everybody has nerves going into your first game, but this team looks legit. They're playing like they're on fire. They're playing for her. No arguments with a quarterback and the coach. This is great.
Yeah, I missed those temper tantrums on the sideline with Chris Michelson and KK Matheny. Those were classic. But certainly Matheny and Danica Brace have a different kind of relationship. Inside handoff again to Malloy. She is just running possessed tonight.
Nobody in the league gets to a hole quicker than Malloy. We've even mentioned the center, Nicole Phillips, for Nashville. The new one in the middle, she's been doing a great job opening up holes like that for Malloy.
The front line has been playing very physical, of course, led by Whitney Palmer and Danielle Hawkins. Hawkins has also had an impact on this game.
Previous all-fantasy player. They are loaded from top to bottom. They're fun to watch, and it's good seeing the rookies. That tells you about coaching. Phillips, Cleaves, Palmer, all playing like veterans tonight.
You could see a lot of fun being had inside this building tonight as Music City gets introduced to the LFL. That is a toss play to Stevie Schnorr. Schnorr gaining 9 yards on the carry.
Here it is, 4 minutes left in the game. You'd think they'd be letting up a little bit. Did you see the block by Dominique Malloy, the lead blocker? They're playing like this is the first play of the game.
I think at this point you're kind of sending a message to the Atlantas of the world and Chicago, all of them in the Eastern Conference. Certainly the power has shifted from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference.
I'm going to tell you what, bringing this heart of Seattle to Nashville, usually when you win a championship, you get complacent. I think it brought a little fire back into these girls.
A 2nd and 1 from the Austin 9 over the middle. That was intended for Whitney Palmer. About the only play she hasn't come up with tonight.
She looks great at tight end. As a running back, she looked great. I mean, you have the bull. Maybe we call her not the baby bull. Maybe we call her the calf.
Yeah, I think she's way bigger than a calf. Her physical stature, you could see she's just absolutely yoked. Looks a lot like you, Bobby Hugo, when I'm visiting you down in South Beach.
A little bit, but she's a young bull. I think they call it either a calf or a heifer. No, I'm serious. I think it is called a heifer.
Not going to go there. 3rd and 1. Ball at the Austin 6. Make it the 9. Matheny back under center. Schnorr in the backfield. Inside handoff does go to Palmer. And Palmer bulldozing through defenders. That time number 8, Rachel Washington, was welcomed by Whitney Palmer.
The baby bull, watch this. Bam! Welcome to the LFL, Rachel Washington. Almost takes it in the end zone. Whitney Palmer doing it all tonight.
Palmer picking up the 1st and goal for Nashville. Music City just having fun now. They could simply run the clock out with almost 3 minutes remaining in this season opener for the expansion Nashville night.
What an opening night for Danica Brace and the city of Nashville. They're going crazy right now.
A 1st and goal, ball at the Austin 6-yard line. They're going to go back to the bull. Or is that Whitney Palmer? No, they're going to go to Schnorr. That was a gain of 5 yards as the clock continues to run.
Not her best game statistically that we've ever seen, but like as always, the postman, she always delivers.
That was a 5-yard carry. So now they'll set up shop inside the 1-yard line of Austin. And I think if you're Austin at this point, you got to lick your wounds and head back home. They've got a key matchup coming up, and you start thinking about the remainder of the season.
You're right. You got to get ready for another game, but look at the intensity of Nashville.
There was nobody challenging Jade Randall as she gets into the end zone for another Nashville touchdown.
They're not saying this game is over. They want more points. They want to show the league, like you said, hey, you got to watch out for Nashville this year. No longer Seattle. We are the champs, and we're going to go to the title this year.
Now, I think this is also a message being sent by Danica Brace. There were some doubters, but Nashville answering those doubters tonight with a commanding lead going into the final 2 minutes. Back to LFL football night, and next week, partner, we are headed to the Mile High City as the Omaha Heart and the Denver Dream open their seasons.
They're doing the floss right there, bro.
And look at down on the field, game MVP. That is Jade Randall with Tennessee whiskey.
Does she really have a bottle of whiskey there? Wow.
A bottle of Jack Daniels and 4 touchdowns. If that's not marriage material, I don't know what is.
100%. I love Nashville. Bourbon, scotch, or beer. Randall's having a record year.
Now that's a Eric Church reference.
That is Eric Church. We're in Nashville, bro.
I've spent a little time on Broadway.
I know you did.
You know what? This is going to be one of those away games that we both love traveling to. It is an incredible scene here. If you guys have not been to Nashville, a great sports town. Certainly the Tennessee Titans, the Nashville Predators, the success they're having, and now the introduction of the Nashville Knights.
One of the most exciting teams in the league. It's perfect for Nashville.
The extra point attempt from the 3-yard line. So Nashville electing to go for 2, a high snap. And one of the only errors from Nashville tonight, that snap sailing over the head of KK Matheny.
That's amazing. Here it is with less than 2 minutes in the game. Literally, that is the first mistake we've talked about for Nashville, a high snap.
For an opening game, what a lot of people don't realize when they're new to the LFL, there are no preseason games. So all these teams having their first game of the year is truly their first game of the year. They've got to work out a lot of kinks.
Well, you know what? We're giving Austin a hard time, but there's a lot of rookies, like the Dowdy sisters, the Twin Towers at almost 6 feet. They'll be good, but they got their eyes opened up tonight.
Steph McCormick in at center still. A shotgun to Winfrey, and there you go. You had 2 open receivers, McCormick and Lopez. She managed to miss both of them.
That's sending a message right there. That is how a Danica Brace team plays with less than 2 minutes when they're blown out of team. They don't give up, and that's how she played.
I have not been this impressed by a rookie debut since probably Jade Randall. The game that Whitney Palmer is having with the motor. She's played on both sides of the ball all night long and still getting around the edge.
She made a name for herself in one game. That's never happened since we've been announcing together. Unbelievable game by Whitney Palmer.
A quick screen that time to Leilani Lopez, setting up a 3rd and 7. Tashay Winfrey now just getting some work in. I don't think we've ever seen her this inaccurate in a ball game.
She's a competitor. We know that. So is the head coach, Mike Oliveira. There's no question they'll be back. They'll study this game film, but they both know they didn't show up tonight.
Still the most dangerous passing attack in all of the LFL, in my opinion. They've just got to get on the same page. A 3rd and 7 out in the flat, complete. That one complete to Kristen Beckman, who signed on from the New England Liberty a couple years ago.
Beckman will help them out as a backup receiver, but you're right. We've seen this team tear up secondaries with their explosive passing game, so they'll be back. There's no question, but they just didn't show up tonight again, and sorry to say that, but they didn't play well.
A 4th and 3 and perhaps the final opportunity for this offense. A quick screen to Robinson, and not able to elude the tackle of Jade Randall as Nashville will take over on downs.
I am so impressed with the intensity and fun that Danica Brace brought to Nashville. Not to mention, we didn't even talk about one of her first moves. She brought in Mike Bradshaw as a strength and conditioning coach. What teams do that? She makes the right moves.
Bobby Huco coming in hot with the research. He just labeled the strength and conditioning coach late in the 4th quarter.
Because look how they're playing late in the 4th quarter. They are intense and they're playing, having fun. They're all in shape.
Both these two teams have mega matchups coming up. Nashville, in 1 month, will travel to Seattle to battle the Seattle Mist, and won't that be a homecoming for Stevie Schnorr, KK Matheny, and Danica Brace.
I cannot wait for that one. Early in the season, yet that's going to be a fun one to watch, them going back to Seattle. Wow.
And Austin in 2 weeks hosting Atlanta, so they have very little time to lick their wounds, and they're going to be tested again.
And we love their head coach, Mike Oliveira, but yet he still has not won a game as a head coach. His schedule doesn't let up.
That is unbelievable for as competitive as Austin has been in the past couple years to not have gotten that W. They've had one of the tougher schedules. Let's give them that. You know, but I think tonight they didn't come with the firepower, the heart, with the exception of Lopez. Otherwise, they get to move on and get to host the Atlanta Steam.
No fun, but I got a feeling Coach Oliveira will have them ready to play.
That'll do it for his partner from Nashville, Tennessee. What a debut for the LFL's first ever female coach, Danica Brace. And how about the rookie Whitney Palmer and game MVP Jade Randall? A very impressive night here for the Nashville Knights as they rout the Austin Acoustic 51-26. For my partner Bobby Huco, this is Mitch Mortaza. Goodbye from Music City. We will see you next week in Denver, Colorado.